This is Dr. Shiva from Global Workforce Management, founder president of Workforce Management Forum. We are a chartered body with 20,000 members across the world. What we do host events. We have members who have been supporting us, building kind of community, workforce management and HR community, where we interview CXOs, build strategy, and we have got our own research center. We publish white papers, reports, and we have got a mentor community which we help education and other industries across the globe. It gives an opportunity to host GWFM and SBS webinar together on the changed priorities in the post-COVID world, which is something very apt and very important topic that we are talking. And good to have Neeraj and Raju together with us. I'm sure that we're going to take away good amount of knowledge and huge networking in the process. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll talk about GWFM. Just give you a brief introduction about GWFM. What do we do? We're a global workforce chartered body with good advisors and advisory board with us, more than 200 of them, spanning worldwide locations. GWFM has been kind of evolving professional body. Since last 6 years, we've been growing exponentially. Now we are 20,000, and by 2023, we want to be market leader in Asia, and then by 2025, we want to be biggest professional body in the world. This is the vision that we have. All that we got to create professional networking platform and knowledge sharing platform. So what is it we've been doing since last 2 years? We've been offering courses in the area of workforce management. Trust me, this is the first time happening in the global market, offering certification and integrated program with the universities and B schools. We have graduate program certification in WFM and analytics, and executive program in WFM and analytics, PGP program, and also we have the senior leadership program. So the program has been defined by industry folks, and they're the one teaching and they're the one go to hire. This is something very significant program, first time we are offering in the market. So we have some of the very unique subjects that we have introduced, and these are all kind of electives. A new one called business continuity management is something that no one offers. We are the first one to offer this in the market, along with the existing WFM course. These courses are very unique and very much required by the industry. In fact, before COVID, we did the research with the industry and gathered more than 5,000 requirements across the world, including Manila, Singapore, Malaysia, and India, and a few other countries. Leading companies want to recruit from us. Hence, we thought of a tie-up with the B schools and universities, where they can be job ready in a year's time. In fact, GWFM courses are mapped to the 11 roles, where you see that other courses like HR and or any finance courses, you see that 1 or 2 roles maximum to map, but WFM programs have got 11 roles. Anyone who goes through the training or anyone who takes up the certification would be mapped to the 11 roles. That's an advantage with the WFM course which we are offering. And we have defined the curriculum and the career ladder with the students, where they become member of GWFM and they would grow right from trainee and executive, senior executive to the vice president and COO level. We help them growing, we help them connecting to the industries globally. This is one certificate that you see that we did the program at Jain University, and we are planning to do a couple of more programs very soon in a few other industries. The new course which we have launched very recently is Contingent and Gig Workforce Management. In fact, we are the first one to offer this program. Trust me, this is something that is a very relevant program because organizations are going to have 50% of FTEs, the remaining 50% of gig, and then contingent workforce management. So how do we manage? The students and the working professionals should have knowledge and also how to manage. This course would offer complete art and science of contingent and gig talent management. With this, what I would do is talk a little more about GWFM. We offer POCs and we have 100 business cases and latest articles and industry reports. We do a lot of webinars. We have very strong industry mentoring and professional networking platform. So anyone who takes up the program with us is going to be learning something new, brand new practices, brand new rules in the organization. Post-COVID is going to be highly challenging roles where we all are going to look at it. This is the course that we have defined, and this is a course that we have curated recently. I'm sure that this is going to be helpful. We want to create win-win situation. With this, I would hand over the control back to Dr. Neha. Thank you so much, Dr. Neha, for associating with GWFM. And this webinar is going to be something very, very much knowledge sharing and also like building networking. And I'm sure that this would definitely have a huge takeaway for the audience who are going to join us today. Thank you so much.
We train our students in all specializations related in the management area, like HR, finance, marketing, international business operations, decision science, and we also give them a platform to, if they would like to go into entrepreneurship or explore entrepreneurship through the incubation and entrepreneurial cell that we have. Shanti Business School works out of Ahmedabad, and it's promoted by a major in the denim industry, the Chiripal Group, who are the largest manufacturers and processors of denim in India and number 3 in the world. And we made a humble beginning about 9 years ago in 2001 as an institute which was instituted to fulfill the managerial requirement or the requirement of management talent for our group companies. From there, we have grown into a standalone, self-sufficient SBU of the group. And today, although still one of our mandate remains to provide trained manpower to our industry, to our companies, but that's on a competing basis. If they can match the demands of the students and if they can take them up in a competitive manner, it's only then our students go there. So that's the journey that we have traversed. Having said that, because we were started by a industry mandate, SBS has a very inherent DNA. So we have always been focused on developing or training manpower that is suited for exact requirements of the industry. So we're not just a very, very bookish kind of institute. We have this process of assessment of the industry requirement and quickly integrating that requirement into our curriculum. And that's part of our that's very strong part of our DNA. Moreover, because we are so closely linked with the industry, right from the beginning, SBS has never had a pedagogy. We have always had this adult teaching learning processes or andragogy. So rather than one-way method of classroom teaching, we have always had a mix of teaching learning methods which are suitable for adults and which prepare them to be more responsible and better decision makers in their working life. So we have this problem-based learning and project-based learning. About 30% of our curriculum is delivered through PBL, that is problem-based learning or project-based learning methods. We have a very strong culture of flipped classroom through simulations, through case study discussions, through group discussions or student activity, where some introductory material is provided beforehand to the students and only discussions later on ensue in the classroom. Through Google Classrooms, Moodles, etc., have been part of SBS Classroom much before COVID struck us. So we have a blended way of teaching the students, and we right from the beginning had extended internship where students go for more than 3 months of internship with the companies where they are where they get the opportunity for summer internship. As a result of that, even during this difficult COVID period, when most of the companies canceled out the summer internship program for the students, we had about 20 organizations who gave us live projects. So 240 of our students are working on live projects with data, and with their industry and faculty mentors for last 1 month. They will continue for one more month before they produce. Actually, the findings are being relayed to the companies on a daily basis for them to take action on that. And very good reviews are coming, and we from this is a learning for us, the change priorities of paradigm shift for us of how actually a summer internship program should be for the students. I'm supported by a very robust team of 60 teaching and support staff, and we have a wonderful infrastructure, a beautiful lush green campus. I invite all our attendees to virtually or physically be there. We will find opportunities for all of you to be there with us sometime. Thank you very much. Shiva, handing over to you.
Thank you so much, Dr.Neha, for the introduction about Shankar School. Great to know about education. Quickly, I would introduce Neeraj. Neeraj has more than 25 years of experience in HR. Is an alumni of IIM Calcutta. So good to have Neeraj with us. He has been very busy in this schedule, and today's is really. I mean, we got him for 1 hour. It's really good to have him, and love to share his experiences, especially during this time, especially in the COVID-19 pandemic. How has been really like changing the life of HR. So Neeraj has spent a good amount of time, especially in companies like manufacturing, engineering, IT, ITS, and he currently works for Conduit, which is a US-based headquartered BPO. He's APAC head of HR over there. Neeraj has been a frequent speaker in a lot of professional and public forums in the area of HR strategy, OD, and use of technology and analytics in HR, and many other areas that like has been contributing, and he has been a seasoned speaker. And Neeraj spends a lot of time in cloud development and also like in the tech space area. So good to have Neeraj with us today. Uh,
Thank you.
Thanks for taking time out, Neeraj. And today we're going to have good time, good learning from Neeraj and also Rajiv to give introduction about Rajiv. Rajiv is in again another veteran in technology. Rajiv started his career in manufacturing industry and then came into IT. He headed workforce management, global workforce management for Wipro for a long time, and later he switched to DXC. DXC happens to be another big company. He was a global head of workforce management there. So good to have Rajiv with us along with Neeraj. I think we see that both very good combinations of Neeraj and Rajiv today. So with this, I hand over the control back to Neeraj. Yes, Neeraj, yeah.
Yeah.
Love you, Neeraj. Over to you,
Thank
Neeraj.
Yeah. So just a confirmation from maybe one of you that is the screen visible?
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent. Excellent.
We will go on. We'll go on unmute. I think all of us let Neeraj speak. Yeah. I think we'll come
Sure.
back when we want. And the audience, you can type your questions for Neeraj, and we'll definitely answer these questions that which you post here before the program we close. Okay.
Sure.
All right. Go ahead,
Thank you.
Neeraj. Go ahead.
So thank you, Dr. Shiva, Dr. Neha, and Rajiv for this opportunity. In some sense, it's weird that we are still in the middle of a pandemic and we have started taking our own personal crystal balls to gaze about the future. But still, there has been a lot of learning in the last 45 days, and all of us had time also to think and reflect. The fact that you don't have to spend 2 hours gives you an extra time. Yeah, but workload has also gone up. Yeah. So the story so far, just to do a recap, nothing new. All of you are in the middle of it as we speak. It's a classic black swan event, something which nobody thought would happen, nobody anticipated would happen, has happened. Yeah. Many ways, it has disrupted businesses, personal lives. A lot of businesses which survive on customer interaction, direct ones, be it shops, malls, eateries, transportation business, all of them have been completely disrupted. Yeah, in a way that nobody would have ever anticipated. Some organizations typically have coped it much better than the others, but some of them are just devastated. Yeah, the shocks will reverberate for many months and maybe in some cases many years. Yeah, companies have started declaring bankruptcy and so on. Fear and suspicion. Yeah, if one were to wear the organizational behavior hat, is something which is new. Yeah, it has always been there, but always been dormant. Yeah, every day when you go out to office or for anything which you do on a daily basis, you don't start with fear and suspicion. Probably a lot of energy, anticipation, expectation, some apprehension. But the pendulum has swung completely to the other side. Fear and suspicion about the next person being infected, going to a crowded place and everything. Yeah, it has redefined ways of working. Nobody would have thought probably month and a half back or two back that people can work from home for weeks together, for hours together. There are many industries which never had any policy for a work from home. They were never equipped to work from home. All of them have started working. At least they've tried to work from home. Banks and many manufacturing setups have started this process whereby people have started working from home. In some cases, it could be 90% or 100% complete productivity, but in some cases, maybe 30-40%. But everybody has tried. Yeah. So the way the working has become different now, where you start your day as a professional and end your day as a person at home, the boundaries have become blurred. Yeah, maybe for good, maybe for bad, only time will tell us. Yeah, mobility, work from home, people, many of the people now, in some cases, all of us are used to desktops and mobiles with email, etc. on a regular basis. We don't think this is a privilege or something which is should be counted at all as a work from home kind of a benefit. But a lot of groups now, a lot of people who have never had the advantage of a laptop at home or probably a email enabled mobile have started getting these benefits. And many companies that I have read and I've heard about, they shipped laptops and desktops to the people's home. They gave them dongles, enabled Wi-Fi, and so on. So many businesses which have never thought about this have started exploring this. Yeah. The best part, people initially were definitely overwhelmed. Yeah, they were threatened, but they have displayed immense flexibility. The organizations, be it as your own organization, be it the customer organization and the employees, they have really adopted it pretty quickly. Yeah, I was reading one article sometime back, probably a week or fortnight back, that the digitization, what would have taken some 5 years, has happened in some 4 or 5 weeks time. Yeah, and as I said in the beginning, so we are in the middle of it. So everyone is a crystal ball. Yeah, how it will shape up, and only time will tell. As we have been seeing, it has not ended. Yeah. When it will end, nobody has a clue. Every day we hear one good news about some distance the vaccine has taken, and probably the next day there's news that it's not working. Yeah, but all of us know that not everybody is going to be at the workplace full time. Yeah, it could be 10%, 20%, 30%, 80%, 90%, nobody knows, depending on the industry you are in. And many companies which do not require physical interaction or a direct interaction or face-to-face interaction with customers, those jobs may remain remote in the future as well. Yeah, people who are likely to come back this month, next month, are going to be extremely frightened. Yeah, many of them will show extreme reluctance to come back to the workplace, especially those who are completely unable to work from home. It's the fear of the virus and, very frankly, fear of the unknown. Yeah, many companies work from home was a benefit. Once in a while, if there's a parent-teacher meeting, there's something to do with your processing of loan, or if the spouse has some travel, you will ask your boss, and very reluctantly, probably he will allow for a day or two of work from home. Or if somebody has ill parents to take care of and so on. But it's become a compulsion. Yeah, many cases just a compulsion. Trust of a safe workplace, we never gave any thought about it. Yeah, we believe that the workplace we are going in, you're not going to get, for example, you're not going to get unwell. Yeah, if you drink the water or you are in that air condition, you're not going to get infected. So some of these things, that whether I'll fall from the chair or the desk will collapse, would never strike you. Physical security was always a given datum, that the workplace I'm in, especially the modern workplaces, are very safe. You never thought about the safety. Once in a while you hear that the AC has some ventilation issues, etc., which quickly gets treated. Yeah, but now we are starting with a very basic, that the workplace that I'm going to go in tomorrow, is it safe for me physically? Will I become ill if I go there? Will I carry that illness home? Yeah, so this is something that we are not used to. This is a completely new dimension, and companies will have to demonstrate that every working hour through the safety procedures, which is open to audit every hour, every minute by the employees, whether it's safe or not. Is it going to get disinfected every week or not? Are there enough hand cleaning gels or not? Is there a social distance in the place that I work or not? So in some sense, I don't know how long it's going to be, but the companies will be on the razor's edge for a very, very long time. Yeah, the employees will keep asking these questions every hour. Yeah, and don't get surprised if some of them become very vocal about this, very adamant about this, and also protest if they see something which they think is not safe. There's something which the modern companies are not used to. Maybe in 1920s and 30s, when worker safety was not the priority for many of the industries, it would have been. And probably that was one of the minor reasons for genesis of industrial unions. Maybe this will not lead to unionization, but this will lead the organizations to be on their toes 24/7. So in short, too many things and very, very, very short time. So companies have started preparing. Now it's 33% or 50% or probably alternate days, etc. But the companies have started preparing when offices are going to open up. Yeah. Design thinking is back in parlance. Now, this is different from how we would prepare for your business strategy or tactics or any process revision. These are design thinking for every protocol at work. How do you conduct interviews? How do you do meetings? How do you run your cafeteria? The restrooms. So there are restrooms which have space now. Yeah. Restrooms are much better equipped and much cleaner now. They were always clean, so to speak, but they would have never been disinfected. Yeah, workplaces were always clean and zero dust and everything else, but they're now getting disinfected. Yeah, how do you commute for work? Now, new allowances, new benefits, every single process, which is physical one, is going to get micro designed now. Yeah. And we have also seen that fact, if you have distributed offices across the country and every state has come out with their own set of guidelines, a lot of local empowerment companies have given, and facilities have, many companies, facilities and the local HR have really stood up and helped in this entire process. Yeah. There is a guess, and the jury is still out, that as we read, companies may reduce office space requirements if they are on rental space, just to save lease cost. But there are tax implications and still going to get worked out. There is no definitive answer to this. One silver lining has been, and this could be open to criticism as well, that the governments have been really proactive. And my feeling is they have been hyperactive. And there was an article in some time back that the number of guidelines and protocols have been phenomenal, maybe some 4,000 or 5,000. Yeah, some of them contradictory, but everybody's in a rush. Everybody's trying to cope up, keep pace with the changes. Every day something new comes up, so one cannot fault them. But too many guidelines. Yeah, helpful definitely, come confusing at times. But this entire scale has been overwhelming for anybody. Nobody has handled anything of this size and scale and impact. My feeling is the labor law compliances will come back in a different avatars, definitely. This time the focus will be on safety, sanitization, health, and so on. Not about whether you have filled up this form and that form or not. Yeah. And if you do not do so, maybe your employees will probably flag it off. Yeah. The good thing in a very neutral sense, I would say that the BCP and the risk mitigation plans have been fully tested. Right now, if you go to companies, more often than not, probably they will have once a year closure. There'll be a fire drill once a year or once in 6 months or once in a quarter, depending on, and that's about it. But God forbid, nobody had a chance to really go for a fire drill and so on. But this time, all these have been fully tested. Yeah. And in a live environment, you have to continue the business, deflate all the risk and so on. And cybersecurity, a very important area. It has really come up well. Employees have to suddenly start working from home. Many companies do not have the security protocols in place, and they have really stood up and enabled employees to work from home. Yeah, I'll pause here and probably request Rajiv to share a few thoughts onto how the business strategies are shaping up now.
Thank you, Neeraj. I hope I'm audible to everyone. I've known Neeraj for some time now, so nobody explains HR in as simple terms to me as what Neeraj does ever in life. Right? So I've known him for many years now. I don't come from an exact HR background. Workforce management has been my forte for a few years, but I come from more from business side of the world. And I think my view of looking at, and I'm definitely not going into the acuteness of the pandemic and and the effects on health and the kind of safety regulations which it will bring in. But let me give you a bit of perspective of the place from where I see it, and I don't know who are the audience in this webinar. I'm assuming that they come from different industries. Right? I don't think that in this COVID impact, everybody is impacted the same. It's not the same. Right? There are people. So I segment them in three kind of companies. Right? The companies or their industries which are stable and which have actually grown in this pandemic. Right? Take an example of agriculture industry. Take an example of food processing industry. Right? Take an example of pharma industry. Take an example of healthcare industry. Right? Possibly no impact onto utilities companies which are supplying electricity and water. Right? possibly some impact to education, but not much. Still, it's a basic necessity, and it has gone well in the place. Maybe some people would have used online learning mechanism and maybe increase the fees of the people also as it goes on. So there are industries which are which I would call it as stable and which are growing. Right, it has not really felt economically too much amount of impact of what the pandemic. On the other hand, there's a second set of industries which really got hurt, and they really got hurt badly. Like, take a case of restaurant and eateries, right? Completely gone, right? They're dead, right? As of now, at least for a few months, last few months, they've been just dead. Take a case of tourism industry, completely dead. People are not wanting to just step out and say, okay, I want to go and see that mountain or a river, which looked very good. Right now, I don't want to go and do that. They just want to. They've been forced to stay at home for a virus which is micro in size. You can't see it, right? So that's the state. So tourism is completely dead. Led to travel and transportation, completely down. Right? People are buying basic needs, right? Nobody's going and typically saying, I want to buy a quote unquote linen, right? I don't buy a shirt at this moment of time. And these industries are really badly hurt. Right? The volumes which they produce, and for the inventories which they carry, right? There's no buyer today, right? That's not a high priority for them. That's the second extreme of it. Right? And then there's a third part which is hybrid, right? These are companies which possibly serve all these kind of companies. Right? So there are some sections are hit and some sections are not hit, right? So take a case of IT company, right? Take a case of software development, right? Or take a case of back office company, right? Okay. They serve everyone, right? They're not they can't say that we are hit, we are not hit, right? So if they're working for a agri processing unit, I think they're doing well. If they're working for a bank, I think they're doing well. If they're working for a healthcare, I think they're doing well. Right? But when it comes to if they're working for a retailer, or if they're working for an area like a travel or a tourism, I think they are that piece of business. Right? So that's the third segment which I would call it as high. Right? And it's very important that this shows us that from an HR perspective, right, there's no one size shoe fit all strategy. Right? You can't adopt one strategy from an HR perspective. It all purely depends upon one, which kind of industry you work on. Are you working in an industry which is working for growth? Are you working in an industry which has actually been badly hit, or are you working in somewhere in the middle of that? Right? That's parameter number one which you need to be following. Point number two, it also depends upon how cash rich your company is. Right? If your company was cash rich and you've been hit a bit, it's okay. It's temporary, right? But if you are already cash defunct as a company, and the COVID hit you hard at this moment of time, God bless you, right? You hurt even more, right? Because you didn't have the cash in your books, you were carrying debts, you were carrying liabilities on yourself, maybe for good reasons, but that good reason does not work anymore for you, right? Okay, so that's the second bit which is important. Right? Third, maybe the geographies which you serve, right? If the countries which you were serving were Italy, if your country which you're serving was Spain, right, which was strongly hit, right? I think you were more impacted, or China, right? You were more impacted as far as business is concerned, as compared to somebody who's serving a local business, possibly who's not that impacted, right? That's equally important. So from a business perspective, fundamentally be clear of where you are. Point number one. Point number two. From an HR perspective, if everybody tells you there's one strategy to follow, I think you'll do a blunder. Don't go that side. Every company has a different kind of personality. At this moment of time, I would sincerely encourage HR to be heavily aligned with their CEO. You like him, you hate him, whatever it is, be heavily aligned. That that chair is under extreme heat at this moment of time. And the chief executive as well as the whole business team at this moment of time is extremely strong, either wanting to really capitalize on the growth which is coming in, or wanting to really or they're really trying to salvage the company at this moment of time, which is badly hit, right? Okay, the problem is not as simple, right? Okay. If it's growing, right, then the scenario, then their expectations from the HR is very different, right? Okay. Take a case of, take a case with the likes of the Amazons and the Flipkarts and the big baskets and the like, right? Okay. At this moment of time, their expectation from their HR, okay, is to ensure that every of their employees, one, safe, right? Second is completely productive, right? Okay, is doing extra work if it is required at this moment of time, right? They're able to recruit even at the fastest possible pace, right? Because they're the kind of size and of business which they used to manage earlier versus what they are managing today, right? If I give you an example of a retail in India, the online retail and the delivered retail at home was only 4% of the retail, right? And the expectation is if I can go down into tier 2 cities and tier 3 cities and supply and all, they were not geared up for it, right? And at that moment of time, their expectation from their HR is, one, keep their current people safe. Second, ensure that they are very productive and they're going on. Their morale is high. They're not listening to the negatives in the world. They're operating. We are recruiting at the fastest possible safe. And we are just serving the countries as well as the people and as well as also growing our balance sheets, right? So they are on a very different extreme of both. Right? So that's one set of people, and their expectation from HR is on that area, right? The second set of people are people who are badly hit. They're looking at HR and saying, guys, I have 4 kind of costs. I have men, machine, material, and money, right? The men part, I look on you. How can you help me, reducing my cost? Can you discuss all the negatives in the world? Can we discuss, reduction on salaries? Can you communicate to the employees no bonuses this year? Can you discuss painful aspects of layoffs with the people? Can you teach me, the nuances of this factor that if I literally let go some people on a furlough or on a leave, will I be literally crossing the labor law some part of the story, right? Their discussions are very, very different, right? And both of them are extreme end of the spectrum which are looking at. Right? So that's point number 1, right? So I just want to strongly point this out, that don't take a one-size-shoe-fit-all strategy, right? At this moment of time, definitely align with your CEO, right? Spend time with them, understand what are their strategies, right? And define a strategy and operating model which HR can literally support for the company which they're working on. Not all is under gloom, not all is too happy, right? So both the elements have to be understood properly. That's point number 1 which I want to make, right? The second thing, which is what is being looked by employees, right? At this moment of time, employees want the HR function, right, to be authentic. They don't want to be bluffed. They can see through the P&Ls of their own company and they can see through what is coming in for them. Right? Okay. It's not that they don't know. Right? It was very surprising for me when initially COVID impact came and all. I read a lot of blogs on this element that HR is doing, an element of early morning coffee shops and conversations and employee morale, right? If I work for a company where my P&L is doomed, I don't think I was expecting that to come from HR. And please don't talk to me about my morale when I have a job to manage, I have a family to manage, right? Let's talk authentic, right? I hate to say that in many times that farceness is really not liked by the employees, right? They don't love it. They're okay to take a sensible, authentic message. Right? So that's my second point. I would expect the HR community, for saying be authentic, be sympathetic on what you do. Right? Definitely be sympathetic. It's about their jobs, it's about their livelihood. At the time when in certain areas the markets are so hit that they don't get a second employer for them very quickly, right? So just be sympathetic, right? You're balancing between everything. Please balance on the and be logical for them also. People need you at this moment of time, and they need an authentic you. Right? They don't need a farce you. They're not expecting what I call it as LTC, which is love, tender, and care. That doesn't work. Right? They expect authentic work from coming from. That's the second expectation which at least I'll put across in the picture. Now, from a CEO perspective and the leadership perspective, they're under extreme stress. Right? Either there's an extreme stress of a good opportunity lying in front of you, which you want to encash, right? And the promoters and everybody is whiling on you and saying, why don't you go aggressive and grab this opportunity today? You will not get it. Or you're under extreme stress because you really are equally lost in a business strategy trying to figure out what to do in this kind of a scenario, right? Or whether my business will be even required after I come out of this whole scenario, right? And at that moment of time, what's very important from an HR leader's perspective is they need to be the friend, philosopher, and the guide to the management, right? They need to work along with them very, very closely. And how can they bring in value in that condition? If you are wired about wired with your competitive companies, right? Your competitive companies are doing something. You are a network of people, right? Definitely call your other networks which are in a similar kind of industry and tell them, ask them what are they doing, how are they handling, right? And management leaders get enough amount of insights from you at that moment of time, right? Okay. Or you are wired in industry forums, get information from them and give it down to your leaders. So that becomes a part of that adds value to those test leaders at that moment of time. That's phenomenally important. You're wired into government bodies, right? At this moment of time, the governments are very active, as what Neeraj said. They're bringing in rules and regulations, but besides that, they're bringing in a lot of elements of funding. Like they're bringing in zero interest loans. They're bringing in enough amount of conveniences for businesses to survive. They're equally sensitive to it, right? If you are wired into these kind of setups, right, you can really bring in authentic information to your management leaders, and you can be a friend, philosopher, and a guide for them at this moment of time, and they will see value from you, right? This is not the time, where, you, as you said, your core essence has to be really very authentic. And how you become that, right, is getting the information from leaders. You'd also appreciate that the companies inside, both for growth as well as for, possibly degrowth, right, are living a chaos, right? They're living a chaos in the business end. They have customers to deal with. Right? They're living a chaos there. They have suppliers to deal with. They're living a chaos there. They have bankers to deal with. They're living a chaos there. They have employees to deal with. They're living a chaos, right? Okay. And at this moment of time, the expectation from HR is, right, that be a good integrator within your own company. Right? Okay. Can you bring in people together? Can you ensure that all the discussions are constructive? All the discussions have a cause to work upon. Right? The emotions are very high in meetings. Right? And at that moment of time, can you be a great moderator of those meetings? Can you get into a proper cause and ensure that these meetings literally land itself to a juicy output, which will be worthwhile for a corporate. Right? So it's pretty important at this moment of time that the HR acts as an integrator on that. Right? We all are used to doing performance appraisal and talent management. Right? Now, when we do talent management and performance appraisal, we always used to do keeping in mind that the environment last year and next year is going to be same. Next year environment is going to be very different. Okay. Maybe the business has decided, saying some of the old business which I was doing, I may shut off and I may get into a completely new line of business. I was recently speaking to a company which does embedded systems in IT, and they were very heavily dependent on automotive companies. And now they have decided that they will do embedded systems for medical industry. Right? Okay, there's a loss of opportunity from automotive. There's a movement into medical devices. They can do a wonderful job there. The talent exists on that, right? But is the talent willing to change? It's the job of HR at this moment of time to really dissect the talent inside the company into two parts. Right? Is the talent futuristic in nature? Is it willing to change along with it? Or is it going to be static and always going to be talking about the past glory without wanting to move into the future? Right? It's a different way to do talent evaluation. It is not an evaluation which you do in a regular sense. You always go back and look at the past performance of an individual and rate individual high, low, or medium. In this case, now you are rating an individual not on the basis of the past glory. You are also rating the individual on the basis of the ability for a person to move into a futuristic style. And you will have to do some crystal gazing, like it or hate it, but you will have to do that to figure out whether the talent is suitable for entering into the new business. Different people are doing different things. Right? Some people said, even if we are badly hit in a business, we are going to just shut down recruitment. We are going to shut down, do closures of everything. These are not great strategies. Right? The strategies again has to be aligned to the business strategies. It's important if you are going to pivot into a new business. Possibly this is the best time to recruit the best of the talent from the world. Right? It's available to you. It's available at the cost price which you want. These are the kind of people which you are looking for. This is the time the HR has to really go headhunting and scouting for the best of the talent, right? Which you were earlier never able to hire, and now you can hire around it, right? That's another nugget which you can possibly add a lot of value as you move around in things. Right? All of us draw factors that we will like to build IT systems, artificial intelligence, machine learning in our organization, and just because we were busy with our day-to-day, we never had time, right? Now you have time at hand, right? Now you really have time at hand, right? This is the time. Please build systems and mechanisms and processes in your organization so that when this whole thing goes away, and I'm an eternal optimist on this particular front. I know no problem has survived beyond a particular point, so this will also go. This shall also pass, right? So in that particular scenario, are you going to say that I was watching everything, I was paranoid, or I'm going to be well prepared to move into a future? I'm going to work into an organization, make them prepared for a future, so that the moment this fear goes away, right, we are back into the business, not only with the force in which we were, right, maybe possibly 3 times the force in which we were, right? So that's my thought. I personally believe this is the time where all the functions, support functions, HR, finance, legal, right, all of them have to really step up. There are heightened expectations from them. The expectations are not anywhere normal from them. Anywhere there's a heightened expectation from them. Right? And if they can play these few things which I said, right, I think they'll really build a good management team which can pivot the organization out from the dooms to a really glorious future, right? And then move ahead furthermore in the years together. And these histories will be passed by, forgotten, written in some books aside, right? And you'll write a great future for yourself. You're on mute.
Yeah, so really insightful. If you ask me personally, if the 2008 the collapse or the recession was saved by the CFOs, I mean, that's what it said. This is the time when probably functions like HR and facilities and legal have a chance to really shine and probably propel the organization to the next few decades. Yeah. So I move to the So I move to the pieces where the HR impact would be uh, really visible and something which we should start worrying us now. Yeah. Now, all of us know that probably a day or two of work from home and a period where you have to really work from home for a very long time, especially in a country like India, is very different. Many people do not have a dedicated workspace. Yeah. And in times like these, it's even tougher. Yeah, because you have the spouse and the children, smaller children, they have their schools to attend and online classes, and probably those who have even smaller ones, they need tending to. Yeah. So the work from home is a new idiom, and right now it's an element which nobody knows how to really kind of put it in a framework and define. Yeah. But all of us know that it's not easy. Yeah. People will have to learn. There are people who share a room with roommates, with friends, and so on, taking that space where you can do a personal call or an official call or something which is discreet, which requires some degree of secrecy. All of these are new. Yeah. That brings me to the second point, trust and privacy. Now, the trust is about the safety at the workplace. Trust is about whether the organization has done enough to ensure that I'm not going to fall sick if I come to the office. Trust is also about that if you are working from home, you will probably do a task which has been given to you without me checking every hour and so on and so forth. Because we know that if you are working from home, you're not visible, whether you are busy, you are doing net surfing or some personal stuff. I do not really know. Yeah. And it's also a fact that you are working from home. I know that you will not be busy the 9 to 6 that you are there in the office, because in between there's a small child to be taken care of, food to be cooked or something to be arranged and so on. And then the question of privacy comes in, because if I keep checking every hour or the other, how does that leave you? Probably too intrusive. One doesn't know, something which the HR has to start looking at it. The third part is agility and flexibility. Now, this is something which is HR has been known for, but not the degree or the extent that we are being asked to now. And same goes for the employees. The agility to probably take a task, distribute it to people, quick turnaround time, the network being slow, and multiple other difficulties. Yeah. And at the same time, flexibility. How to redistribute work when everybody is not in the office. Yeah. How to take up, quickly learn and deliver when the person is not sitting next to you. Something probably people have displayed at this entire duration. And HR will have to start looking at these two key attributes also in all the policies, processes that they have. Are we bound by a thick HR process and policy document, or something which probably gives us enough flexibility to decide something on the go? Role of managers, is going to get changed completely. If you have 10%, 20%, 30% working from home for a longer duration, how do you manage this workforce? Now, traditionally, a lot of managers, what they would do, once the workforce is in, probably they'll allocate the work for the day or for the next couple of days and so on. And it's not their fault. Probably that's the way the work would come to them, and that's how they are used to allocating. But now it may also move to, a way whereby you can't do it on a daily basis. You have to plan for the week. The load distribution, work allocation, tickets to manage, customers to manage, calls to manage, probably have to be much more planned and organized around this. Tools will help, but also the ability to probably quickly turn around, pass on, all these have to be worked. And this is where the HR piece comes in, that you have to train them how to manage a workforce which is not in front of you and not forgotten. Yeah. And some of these pieces may come in because the work from home guys may not be seen as to whether they are working, not working. So management by walking around, good concept, but here probably management by monitoring, remote monitoring will be taught to the managers. They haven't done this for in their career. This is something which is new to them. Micromanage, something we always hated. Yeah. HR has been one of the big proponents to managerial style, saying do not micromanage, learn to delegate, judge them by the result, do not manage them by the hour, don't do too many reviews, look at what they have achieved, and not always how they have achieved and so on. But what I'm saying in micromanage is a very different perspective. This is the first time that many of them would have started working from home. And again, as I said, it's not easy. Space, time, and that fact that you're not in the office means that there are no confines of a office space. So it could be that you are not as productive as you would have been in the office in the 9 to 6, because in between probably you have to step out to manage your household, look after kids or aged parents and so on. So probably what you do between 9 to 6, you'll have to have probably frequent breaks. So what you do between 9 to 6 gets done in 9 to 9. And you'll have to allow them. The other aspect of this is that day to day, probably you may not micromanage, probably at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day or end of the week and so on. But this is new. For many people, it's just completely new. Probably a check-in time defined between the manager and the employee, maybe at 11 a.m. in the morning as to how is it going, 4 or 5, and probably 6:30 or 7. That's something because the work structure has completely changed now. People would be remote, working with managing their household and so on. So for some time, managers may have to micromanage. And that brings me to the next point, the new work structures. So there will be a workforce which will not be visible frequently, will be working from remotely. There'll be a workforce which is visible to you in the office space, interacting with customers or fellow colleagues and so on. How do you strike the right balance, that the other one doesn't feel neglected? How do you ensure that they're also included in all your calls? If there's a coffee session, how do all of them participate? If there's a meeting, how do you ensure that people who are remote also get an equal opportunity to participate and share their point of view? And the last part, data is going to be more important than ever, be it productivity, performance measurement, effort, task allocation, employee benefits. The data has to be probably. So what is going to change now? Now, this is just probably some of those darts in the air. Now, if you have a workforce which is going to be permanently remote or a segment of workforce, does it mean that you will have a new talent pool? If you are in Bangalore, can you look at somebody probably sitting in Hyderabad, Coimbatore, maybe Kakinada, maybe Gulbarga, anywhere? If they have to work from remotely or work from home, they can be anywhere. So does it increase the talent pool? Does it increase competition? Now, there are other implications also. Will the traffic problem go away? I think that's probably ourselves. But this is a new dimension, that do you look for a talent pool within the vicinity of where your workspace is, or do you go cast your net far and wide? Employee processes. every employee process which affects the employee through the HR processes, what I meant was, all of them have to be enabled to be delivered digitally. Yeah, something which cannot be done digitally will become an issue. Yeah, and the guys who are going to be work from home permanently or for a longer duration will definitely feel deprived. So probably a fresh look at all the HR processes to enable them for a digital delivery or a personalized one is going to be one of the top priorities for us. Training design. In between, there was a huge drive to make training completely online. Then there was a shift saying that maybe online and a mix of online and probably classroom. Jury is still out. Will take some time, but the guys who are working from home will have to have an opportunity where the training online has to be much more robust, much more personally delivered, yeah, and with tangible outcomes. Managers, lot to unlearn, learn, and HR has to play a lot important role now. Yeah, as I said earlier, how do you manage the core HR processes through the managers? How do you do appraisal of a workforce which is not visible most of the time? How do you monitor their work? Do you monitor their tasks and outputs, or do you also keep monitoring their efforts which is not visible to you? What new mechanism or technology you would like to have? Critical employee conversations. All along we have been saying that these are supposed to be face-to-face, be it retention, be it career design. How do you do it remotely? So is it FaceTime? Is it a Zoom or Microsoft Teams? We'll have to probably unlearn some of these, that face-to-face is not the best one. There's another better one also, which is through these video connects, yeah, which also have to have that element of personalization. The third important part, the employee connect to the organization and advocacy. When I'm sitting remotely, maybe 200 kilometers away from my workspace, how do I emotionally connect to the organization? How do I still feel that I'm a part of a larger setup and not just focus on my task for the day alone? How do I become an advocate of the company? How do I encourage my friends and colleagues to join this company that I work for and I'm proud about? Yeah, HR will have to come out with these new strategies to address these. Yeah, again, the team dynamics, as I addressed earlier, out of sight but not out of mind. Many people who work from home, work remotely, geographically dispersed, they have a feeling that, be it some of the benefits, be it promotions, be it merit hikes, somehow probably they get some odd time the rough end of the stick. Yeah, they believe that the fact that you are not able to demonstrate your personal commitment and effort, and I'm just saying probably in a lighter vein, makes them deprived of some of the organizational benefits. So again, how do you ensure that the balance between people who are in the office, people who are not in the office, how do you ensure that it gets balanced? Yeah. So how would the new HR mandate look like? I'm probably at the end of the slide. All along, right from our college days, the business school days, the top end of the pyramid was what we focused on. The base, the middle was not something which we are keen on. For white collar workers, the focus was always on how do you self-actualize. Yeah. But now you realize that the base of the Maslow's pyramid has become the most important. Yeah. How do you ensure there's a safe workplace? How do you ensure that the employee's mental and physical well-being is being taken care of? And that will become the new ownership of the HR team. Yeah. And mental wellness, etc., has been in the mental and physical well-being has been as a part of HR parlance for long. Yeah. But they're never seen as must-have. They are seen as something good to have. So there'll be drive around checking blood sugar levels, hypertension, obesity. There'll be drive to reduce weight. There'll be competitions around that, and some prizes sometimes in a very attractive fashion. And there'll be technology tools also. But mental well-being is something which the organizations usually, and for valid reasons, they push it under the carpet. They believe that your mental well-being is something you should take care of. If you really want some help, we'll have a 24/7 counselor. Go and talk to them. Yeah. But now probably the ownership of the fact that you are working remotely, there's no way that you can unwind. And a lot of researchers have shown that sometimes people unwind at the workspace rather than at home, because there could be difficulties at home. And the fact that you're able to share with your friends, a counselor, a colleague, or a boss is no longer available to you. Yeah. So active check on mental and physical well-being. This is a new ownership, and the HR and the management has to start owning it up. and in a very active fashion. Chief Culture Officer has been a new designation and a very important one in the last 10 years. And Organizational Health and Safety Officer is somebody who would normally be not seen as active. Maybe the drills, maybe some of those BCP plans is what is when, or there's some client audits, or there's some legal audits, is that when they really come to the fore. But now we may see that this could become a key differentiator. Is the workplace I'm going in, do they follow all the safety norms? Is it a safe place to be in? And that's where probably the officer who looks after health and safety will be at the forefront. Yeah. And the new job architecture, if you ask me, this is a little futuristic. Yeah, we have always been saying that the future should be one where the jobs and roles are not something which the employee should look at. Task and skill is what people should look at. This could be probably a small push to ensure that the focus in future, especially at junior levels, will be more about task and what skills you bring in, and not the role the organization has given you. How this will pan out, it's only time will tell. But my feeling is it may get a little bit of push with this entire process. Now, talent planning. How do you onboard employees? How do you get them culturally integrated? Now, anybody whom we onboard, we do a lot of reference checks, background verification, all for a valid reason. Sometimes customers ask it, organizational requirement, legal requirement, and so on. All this have to be now looked at with a fresh eye. Which of these things are mandatory? Which of these things you can do without, or you really need to do? Do you really need to do your induction in the workspace? Can you do it remotely? Yeah. What are the advantages and disadvantages? So all these pieces of talent management and planning will have to be there has to be a reset button. And what you have been doing for years, is it relevant anymore? Not anymore? Does it require a redefinition? You'll have to look at those. Yeah. Engagement is one major piece. Excuse me, is really required. In the entire engagement piece, the focus has been on participation, interest of employees. How does it motivate them? How do we ensure that the employees are connected to the organization? We never thought about physical environment. Yeah. At best, probably it'll be a conference room we'll worry about, or the workspace, which will probably give you enough space to do anything that you want to do. Yeah. But the fact that many of these employees are not going to be in the office space anymore, how do we engage with them? Yeah, a completely new dimension. We have not thought about it. The HR has not thought about it. Once in a while, for some people, they'll probably have some connect sessions and so on. But now this may have become a regular thing. Yeah. So you'll have to probably factor that in when you do your entire engagement planning. Fear at workplace, as I discussed earlier, is a completely different thing. Yeah. We have dealt with fear of failure. We have dealt with fear of appraisal. We have dealt with fear of missing out. I did not get promoted. I did not get called for this meeting or this training and so on. But mortal fear, the fear of safety, the fear of well-being of self and the family is very new. Yeah. And HR will have to spend some time thinking about it. HR will have to spend time how to handle it. Yeah. We have not dealt with this at all. Maybe in security forces, something probably the armed forces might have trained their officers to deal with this. HR has not been. Yeah. And this is something which we'll have to quickly absorb. There's no time to waste on this, and start learning how to handle this. Yeah. Inclusion. Now, diversity was many places was all about gender, ability, orientation, and so on. But this is something which truly is inclusive, because the fact that there are a set of people who are not visible in this space. How do you ensure that they are engaged, they are included, they feel a part of the organization, they feel connected? Yeah. Again, we'll have to start devising strategies around this. Employee experience, all of us know that this is something which employees never forget, be it the day of induction, be it their exit, be it their appraisal process, be it the training, or just day-to-day, anything that they want to do. How to ensure that the employee experience remains personalized for a workforce which may not be in the office? Something which the HR has to start thinking about. Yeah. And the most important one, the listening post. We always had our suggestion boxes and employee committees to look after the cafeteria, the cleanliness at the workspace, the transport, and so on. But safety and security, well-being, we have to start creating listening posts, because there's something the employees will be really vocal about. They will not waste a day. They will not wait for you to react. You will have to be proactive in this. So creating new listening posts, which are fast, quick, in terms of allocation and closure, and a feedback to an employee that's been addressed, is something the HR has to really, really work on and start devising mechanism around this. Yeah. I'm at the end of my presentation, and as I said, this is the HR's moment in the sun. I strongly believe so. It used to be the CFO who would probably turn the company around and help in multiple ways. HR, facilities, legal, this is the time. Yeah. So I end with this quote from Paul Coelho, that when we least expect it, life sets us a challenge to test our courage and willingness to change. At such a moment, there is no point in pretending that nothing has happened or in saying we are not ready. There's hardly any time, if you ask me. The challenge will not wait. Life does not look back. Yeah, it moves so quickly that the ability to plan, organize will be really, really put to a test. Yeah, I end my presentation here and over.
Thanks, Neeraj. I think the quote says it all. There's no time. There's just no time. If you're a progressive thinker, right, there's so much to do. And there's so much change in one shot which has been bombarded on all of us. It can be an opportunity. It can be a lamenting baby scenario. Whatever way you want to. Dr. Shiva, in case you're around, if you can just open it for audience to ask some questions, then
Yes,
Neeraj, me, and Dr. Neha, we can take some questions.
right.
Sure.
Rajiv, there's a question for you. I just sent it to you in your WhatsApp. So Rajiv, there's a question. With the time on hand, do we have money in the organization to get into technical innovations and talent retention? In fact, change in the labor laws and the indications on return of investment, and also the IR in big way, and struggling the freedom and empowerment. This is a question asked by someone. Yeah,
There,
you could
there,
emphasize
there,
on
are
that,
too,
and also by Neeraj.
there are too many questions, but I'll try and answer a few of it. First question was, with time in hand, do we have money in hand, right? You said it all
Right.
purely depends on the company which you work for. Right? Somebody who has been saving for this rainy day is in good state. It's not that all companies have gone bankrupt. Somebody who was typically making some bold moves, right, would have been into a bad shape today, right? Because they don't have money.
If you have cash.
Money at this moment of time is actually available at a discount, right? If you're smart, if your company is smart, you have never seen money such at low cost, right? Because the money lenders also understand that if there's no money, they're not there, right? It's so simple and so straightforward, right? So, money is available for all the right reasons, right? If there is a reason for an investment, which means that it can make value out of it in the future, right? I'm dead sure there are enough amount of investment options available, both in the private sector as well as in the government sector available, right? Nobody wants a failure at this moment of time, right? No government, no human being wants to see a failure at this moment of time. So, is money not available for investments? Money is available for investments, depends upon what's your investment case, what is the value or the return of investment which you will offer, right? Okay. And if you do that, I think there is enough of business case to check upon. And financials I don't think is a concern in many cases, which at least I have been speaking to, provided there's a good business case, right? Flimsy business cases don't have money, right? Regular business as usual, has no money, right? Neeraj spoke upon work from home. Suddenly companies which never used to give even more than 2-3% of their people laptop, right? They went and bought laptops down the street. Every laptop manufacturer did not had inventory, right? And they invested money on Zoom, they invested money on Microsoft Teams, right? So it's not that companies don't invest. Companies will invest. You need to have a proper business case for it. So that's my answer to first part of the stuff. The second stuff which you said was in the change in the labor law, an indication of return of IR in a big way are strangling of the freedom and empowerment. Right? Neeraj is a better judge to speak on IR and labor laws. Not the right guy, but I have only one firm belief. Right? Law is made by people. Right? At this moment of time, if the law comes in way of doing things right for the people or for the businesses, even the law will get hammered and challenged. It's not so straightforward that people are going to just let it go. Right? Get back to you on this part of the question. I think you are a better person. I'll repeat the question for you. Right? In the change in the labor laws and indication of return of IR in big way and strangling of freedom and empowerment, right? I think something similar to this.
Look, and all of us have seen that a couple of state governments went the other way and wanted to remove all the constraints around the laws of handling labor. Yeah, and I think it was an extreme, and the courts and other bodies stepped in and probably they withdrew, because somehow belief is that the labor law is something which is the only which is the only thing which is strangling the local industry in India, which is not so simple. There are multiple things. Yeah, be it infrastructure, supply chain, and so on, and the prices, and etc. etc. If you ask me, I don't think this is a time to for labor laws to come back. I don't think so. One thing which will get strictly implemented is around the safety of the workplace. Yeah, that will undergo a severe push. Will have a lot of audits, and our own employees are the ones who are going to flag it off. As I said, if you do not follow the protocol, yeah, it's fear, it's distrust, and everything else. But I don't see the labor laws probably or the industrial unions making a comeback because this. For other reasons, yes, but because of COVID, I don't think so.
And we have next question. Do you think this is the time to encourage employees' engagement activities? If yes, which are the one you suggest to make a difference with the remote team working from home?
Look, there's no good time or bad time to engage with the employees. Yeah, as long as the companies are in the working mode or probably a reduced working mode, it's always a time to engage with them. Yeah, you just cannot put a start and stop button, but the modality of engagement would change. Yeah, it's more about probably an ability to share, ability to de-stress, ability to decompression, if I may say so. Yeah, because working from home, all of us know, for a very long time is not easy. Yeah, they're competing priorities, a lot of distractions. Yeah, it's not very easy to focus when you're sitting at home 24/7. You just can't go out. Yeah, so the engagement has to focus on some of these rather than everything else that you would do probably if you're in the office. The ability to stay focused. How do you ensure that they're connected with the teams? How do you ensure that the managers spend time with them is what we should prioritize right now. But we should not.
We have the last question. What should be the employee value proposition for the organization in?
Look, because of COVID, I don't think the entire basic tenets of employee value proposition would change. But the safety and well-being will definitely be at the top of the pyramid. Yeah, it will be an inverted pyramid where we have to start by saying that we offer you a workplace, which guarantees complete safety, yeah, which takes care of your well-being, and it has programs and policies which go beyond the medical coverage of self and family and parents about your mental and physical well-being. It's not about the curative aspect of well-being, it's about the preventive aspect of well-being. Yeah, not to prevent well-being, but I'm saying preventive aspect of illness. Yeah, that's what we'd focus on. Other tenets about flexibility, benefits would definitely undergo a revision. I think it's still awaited that if I work from home, what kind of benefits would I be entitled to? Because I'll have to spend money on probably getting a faster Wi-Fi and probably a printer of my own and so on. Yeah, those would. But entire employee value proposition, I don't think will undergo a complete change. It will definitely see a refit. Yeah.
Dr. Shiva, I have a question for both the panelists. So there's this increasing pressure on the CEOs to start the workplace, to get the workplace going now that most of the lockdown has been lifted and government has permitted that. But as you said during your presentation, that there is this mortal fear of the workplace not being safe. And all the employees, they normally fall into a normal curve kind of a distribution where majority might be at least willing to look to coming back to the physical campus. But there would be few who are absolutely fearful of returning back, however much you tell them that it's a safe place or what. Such cases, how or such a disparity, how do you propose to handle? Should they be handled with one policy that fits all the employees kind of thing, or should time be given them to readjust or adjust to the thought? What is
If you
HR view?
ask me, the employees are definitely mortified.
Yes.
And employees say that I do not want to come to the workplace. Traditional definition would be that this is insubordination. Yeah, you're defying a company order. But this is not the time to probably wear the legal hat and say that we'll take disciplinary action and fire you after issuing a show cause notice and so on.
No.
But some of the good practices that I have seen, what the companies do is they, and this may sound a little superficial and sometimes maybe a frivolous one as well. They started circulating videos, yeah, at how the new workplace looks like. I just saw a couple of them in the last couple of days in the earlier company that Rajiv and I worked for. How the workplace for them has changed. What all precautions they're doing, yeah, are being taken on a regular basis. Be it disinfectant, be it social distancing, be it the usage of lifts and washrooms and cafeteria, and that probably helps you build confidence. The second part would be communication from the leadership, telling them that this is safe. All of us are here, yeah, without putting ourselves in danger. We are still here. We are working. We also have families. We also likely to fall ill if there is an infection at the workplace. Yeah, come, inspect, and see and start working. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. Rajiv.
So my view, I always hold a business view first than anything else, right? So I put it across in place. Every time you define something, right, be very clear that in an attempt to be fair to one, are you being unfair to another? Right? By that logic, I think everybody can sit and say, okay, and I can give you a very interesting experience that the government said that everybody should be paid at the time period when there was a lockdown, right? And there was a car cleaner of mine who walks in after the lockdown opens, and the first thing which he asked me is saying, "Sir, can I get the money for the past?" I asked him, "Did you clean the car since the lockdown is open?" He said, "No, I have not started cleaning the car. That I will do 1 week from later. Can you pay me the money?" Right now, and money cannot become the entitlement in life, right? So I think there are other parameters to it. So I personally believe that when somebody is taking these kind of decisions, what Neeraj said was coach them, mentor them, guide them, involve them, possibly ask them.
Sure.
Right? That's fair, right? But on the other hand, everything needs to have a time limit to it also, right? After that, you give them a soft furlough and say you don't want to work, so it's okay, be at home.
Absolutely.
Yeah, your medical benefits will continue for you, but you will not get paid for it. Even that's not going to be indefinite. You can't say that 6 months down the line, the whole world is going outside and everybody is working well, and I still don't want to come out in that particular dear baby. Thank you. Thank you, but we need the others. It's going to be my rough call as a business leader. Right? And I know at times can be slightly rough, but in the conversation. But
you have to decide what works best for you.
Yeah, because then the other end of the world will start saying that you do favoritisms by these kind of people, right? And the rest of us are busy slugging ourselves onto a. That's why I said every time you design something, right, be very clear that and that's why I said HR. In my session, what I said was HR just needs to be authentic. We just need to be authentic. We're not here to only give a pali great picture. There are times when we'll have to give a picture to which. That's it.
Yes.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Partho Ganguly.
Hey, Partho.
Hi, Rajiv. Hi, Neeraj. Hi, Neha.
Hi, Partho.
I am quietly listening to all of you, and at the end, I just want to say that, I'm taking it from Neeraj. I'm a big fan of Paulo Coelho as well. So I would just like to sum this entire thing up by saying, quoting Paulo Coelho, when we least expect it, life sets up a challenge to test our courage and willingness to change at such a moment. There is no point in pretending that nothing has happened or in saying that we are not yet ready. The challenge will not wait. Life does not look back. A week is more than enough time for us to decide whether or not to accept our destiny. I think this summarizes everything that you gentlemen and ladies have said. And it's a wonderful discussion that we've had. And the nuggets that we take out from here will probably help us build a safe post-pandemic workplace. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah.
Thanks.
Shiva, you can take it.
There's one more question. One more question from the student out here. How should an HR student prepare for the post-COVID job opportunities? This is something that one of the students is asking. So, I mean, can we have suggestions that how students can prepare, considering the situation out during the COVID-19, post-COVID-19?
So I personally believe, firstly, that there's going to be, as the businesses start opening up, there's going to be a lot of hiring on HR guys. Right? So that's part number one. I don't see a single reason why companies which actually did not, value the function till yesterday also will start putting it under extreme value as we go ahead. Right? So be optimistic that your job employments may become better in case you're a great person. Right? So that's one. Be ready for one question in the interview, irrespective of which field you are. Right? During the COVID period, what the hell did you do? So what did you use this time for? Did you waste away the time, or did you really carry new skills and stuff like that? That's going to be a very simple psychological test for people who are forward looking vis-a-vis people who are paranoid and who anytime there was a problem, right, they just got pulled inside their shell, right? So just be ready for this question. And again, same answer, be authentic. I think people who are hiring you can see through you very easily, and they know that you're making it up or you've really done something great about it, right? If people who have used this time well, they have supported the environment, they've supported the society, they have learned some new skills, right? They've corrected themselves, right? So I'm sure if they're good professionals, I'm pretty optimistic that by the time these college courses get over, there would be a lot of hiring of young professionals coming around, right, to be able to support the industrial needs in the future. Do you see it differently?
No, I don't see it differently. This is going to be a tough one. It'll take a little time, but I'm sure businesses will tide over it. Yeah, nobody wants to fail, as Rajiv said, and companies will move heaven and earth to survive and prosper and grow.
Yeah, thanks, Rajiv and Neeraj. I think and I also echo the same, till the time that they complete the cycle, students should continue to learn new, and also they should learn how to solve such business problems. That way, they'll be equipped and they'll be better prepared for the new ways of economy, or new ways of challenges which is coming forward. The last question, in fact, there's one last question popped up here. This is something that, how has talent attraction, then retention undergo change because of COVID-19? Is there any better strategy that, we should do it? Or, how do we really attract the talent, then, retain the talent? This is one last question. Yeah.
I kind of covered that.
Yes.
In some sense, I had covered that probably the levers of engagement have to undergo some degree of change. Yeah. And we'll start by saying that this is going to be a very safe and secure place for you. Yeah. This is not a place where you come to the office and fall ill and carry the illness back. Yeah. Rest of the engagements will be around flexibility, what kind of policies and benefits you have for the work from home. Yeah. how flexible you are, how agile you are, how do you treat the employees who work remotely, or do you treat them differently? Yeah, so some of these pieces will be around those. Yeah.
Few things which just I want to just touch upon on this particular topic, right? And one may have to be geared up for it. I don't know. I may be doing crystal gazing at this moment of time when I say so. Right? There may be issues developing on white collar talent for the volumes and for the be very clear that COVID is going to do a lot of pricing reset, right? It's going to do a pricing reset on raw material. It is going to do a pricing reset on finished goods. It is going to do a pricing reset on even the talent or the salary levels at which the talents used to come in, right? And there may be a switch which you may see, and I'm again, as I said, I'm crystal gazing at this moment of time, right? And specifically for developing economies, that possibly you may realize that the white collared compensations may fall off or go downward, right? While the gray collared and the blue collared may actually go up, right? And their sourcing mechanism, their search mechanisms are not as automated when it comes to white collared as what you are. So there's a lot of job which the industry pundits and the gurus will have to do to learn about this piece of act, right? We have to learn to understand job roles and across the strata, okay, and each one of them may have a very different view to.
I think we have a couple of more questions. Anyway, we can take them offline with them. So with this, I think now it's at 6:30. We have spent good amount of time. Thanks, Partho, for summarizing. Thank you so much, Neeraj and Rajiv, for your time. It's really appreciate your time, taking out on this Friday, and really insightful and very good knowledge sharing. And I'm sure that all the participants be taking away good message all the time. And we're going to share the videos to them. So some of them are asking PPT. So with Neeraj's permission, we can share the PPT. Okay, great, thanks. We'll share the PPT and also the video with them at one go once video production is done. Yeah, maybe in a few days.
Thank you. Keep yourself safe. Keep your families safe.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you all of you. Thank you all of you.
Thank
God
you.
bless.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Take care. So with this, we'll conclude this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Neeraj. Thanks a lot.
It's Neeraj.
Bye.
And whoever is attendees can join in our social media, which is displayed out here.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll
Thank
log
you.
out. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Shiva. Thanks a lot. Looking forward to more such collaborations. Thanks a lot.